Hey, do you like a cyberpunk setting, over-the-top characters, detailed worlds, action combat, and deep RPG systems, all in a large, open-world, futuristic city? Well, if so, let me introduce you to No Law. The game was first revealed back in December 2025, and since then they've released a few videos sharing a bit more details about the game, so we have like a clear understanding of what this thing is about. Also, I recently got the chance to check out some early in-game footage, thanks to Craft for that opportunity, as well as for sponsoring today's video. We're going to be diving in and doing an overview of everything that you need to know about the game based on what's been revealed and showcased thus far, which it's looking pretty cool, gotta say. Let's dive into it. All right, No Law is described as an immersive single-player open-world FPS RPG with a rich story and memorable characters set in a cyber noir city nestled near the sea. We play as Gray Harker, an ex-military veteran who left his war-torn life behind for a more peaceful existence, tending plants. My guy just wants to hang out and talk to some greenery. However, that retirement did not last for long as trouble came a-knocking, and now we are on a mission to settle the score. Enter the open world shenanigans. We'll be exploring the city, tracking down targets, trying to earn some cash, upgrade our capabilities, find new weapons, goof around, messing with the locals, kind of whatever you want. The city is large, full of interesting characters, diverse locations, and quite a variety of things to do and see. Also, plenty of combat opportunities, whether you want to go in sneaking around playing stealth or go in with a bang. Somewhere in between, whatever you like. There's going to be a lot of variation here. Much of which we saw in some recent clips of gameplay footage. Now, the studio making the game, Neon Giant, said that this is an FPS that has a major focus on player agency, deeply satisfying gunplay, and various tools that let you tackle challenges your own way. So the latest gameplay footage recently revealed at Gamescom did give us a glimpse of some really cool aspects of the game. So it opens up with a few different cinematic scenes. There's some dialogue cut from the game's story.
You hear about this Gardner guy going after the mayors? The city won't shut up about him.
What have you heard?
But again, the more interesting thing to me were these several gameplay sequences that show a lot of what you can do in combat. So we actually get to see some stealth segments like sneaking into buildings, taking out lights, hacking terminals, and silently eliminating targets. We see a bit of brawling going off, like kicking NPCs off of ledges or breaking down doors, literally breaking the doors. There's a variety of tech options, such as attaching explosives to a robotic vacuum, or tossing out these incapacitating grenades. And we also see a few special abilities and what appear to be magic or kinetic powers. Some really interesting stuff on display here. Now, outside of the cutscenes, yes, this footage definitely makes it clear that there is a wide variety of ways to engage with enemies in combat, and it looks pretty fun. This was a relatively brief trailer, but it did show some promising elements of the game. So prior to this, about a month ago, during Unreal Game Fest, they did a deep dive into the tech and methods being used to deliver their large, highly detailed open world, and this stuff looks really impressive. They said that their main goal here isn't necessarily to make the biggest world, but the densest, saying they want the city to feel lived in at every scale, where every corner carries history and every surface tells a story. And you can really see that on display in this roughly 7-minute showcase here. The various environmental flybys they do show us stuff like these crowded marketplaces full of people looking to purchase food and a wide assortment of goods that are spread across tables, to apartment kitchens full of all sorts of cookware, dirty dishes, you got magazines scattered across the table, trash in the trash bin, and leftovers all over the place. And then in numerous sections where they go through the streets, you see that it's full of a lot of the expected grime of a city. You've got parts that are overgrown, like balconies covered in foliage. There is, in fact, tons of detail on display here. They were also sure to mention that they built this with both the visual fidelity and performance in mind, using many different tools that they have to have one without sacrificing the other. You've got lots of really good looking dynamic lighting here that changes the tone and the feel of the environment depending on both the time of day as well as weather conditions, and we got a few showcases of this. In fact, the NPCs in the game even react to the game's dynamic lighting, such as having a harder time moving through dark environments. They'll kind of struggle and stumble over things, or covering their eyes if you shine a bright light source in it. Also, speaking of the NPCs, to help the city feel more alive and believable, they're using this mass framework to control NPC density and types that changes depending on the time of day and weather conditions. So the rainstorms will clear out the streets and the slums, while say more commercial districts might still stay pretty busy. They're evidently able to simulate more than 3,000 characters simultaneously going about their business throughout the city as you play. Yeah, man, this entire tech and visual showcase was pretty cool stuff. If they can actually have the game look this good and be this dynamic while still running well, that'll be mighty impressive. Now, their first developer diary that they originally released shared some more details about the game world and kind of the place that we're going to be playing in. They discussed the setting of the city within the context of the larger world.
There is a space between 3 neighboring countries, which no country has been able to step into. And in that space, this completely unregulated city has emerged, called Port Desire.
How they've handcrafted every inch and put a lot of detail for players to stumble across should you so desire.
We need to make everything from scratch. And the more we build, the more things are interconnected. And if you are the type of player that you will actually stop in the shop and you will look at the missing dog poster on the counter and you will start to puzzle things together. Like, there are so many little stories all over the world.
They go over the larger narrative that's taking place that we will uncover while playing.
So while Port Desire is lawless, there is still some kind of order, because there's this outer nation military force in the city called the Peacekeepers. They are there to keep everything just as it is, because it plays in the interest of greater powers. But they are still at odds with the gangsters and the mayors running the city in their way.
And also their use of environmental storytelling, as well as utilizing verticality in the city. Both of which some of my favorites in games like this.
Environmental storytelling is extremely important for us because it allows us to tell the history of Port Desire. We try to make the city feel very vertical. That means both in how you see the city, but also that you can utilize like rooftops as part of your path around.
Now, if this is your first time hearing about and seeing this game, you might be wondering who the heck is making this thing that looks as good as it does. Well, this is actually the second game being developed by Neon Giant. They're a relatively small studio based in Sweden. Now, their original title, The Ascent, was this top-down action shooter RPG that released back in 2021. That was the foundation of the world and the type of game that they wanted to build. It was on a smaller scale, and now they're looking to achieve that much larger grand ambition with No Law. In another developer diary, they specifically talk some about this, their studio and their ambitions for the game. They mentioned the benefits of being a studio founded and run by developers, by the people creating the product.
Well, we have ex-directors here, super senior talents, and here they get to both direct and decide what to do, but they also get to do it. That's basically the sentiment of the entire studio. You both decide and you do it.
How the studio has grown from that original game while still being fairly small, nimble, and able to handle a lot with few people.
If we compare us now towards when we made The Ascent, basically The Ascent was made by a handful of people. If someone in the studio got sick, then we lost an entire department. Now we can cover most aspects with 2 people instead. For us, it's a huge difference, but it took us from 5 people to 23. So we're still very small.
Along with some of the innovation and technology that they're using to bring No Law to life, while again, still remaining relatively small.
We've focused a lot on tools for this project, and that is an investment that has to pay itself off over and over again. Those tools that really allow us to work at a high pace and produce good content. For the amount of people we are in a very small studio, making a very ambitious game.
We just build things that we think are really cool. Like that's step one. We have to be excited about it. We have to think, this is gonna be awesome when we build it. That's the first step.
So No Law is currently planned to release at some time in 2027. Their intention is to launch across all platforms, PC and console being the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. It's going to be a one-time purchase, box price game, and they've said the estimated runtime, although it'll vary depending on how you play, but it should be in the ballpark of somewhere around 15 to 20 hours. There's still certainly much more that I want to see and check out, but from what we have had the chance to see thus far, this game is looking pretty cool. definitely, I think, one to keep an eye on. Excited to see and play more of it. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this look at No Law. We got links in the description below. If you want to learn more or follow the game, be sure to check those out. That is all for today. Thanks again. I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy.